Hi there, I'm Nick Stubbs from All Things Photography, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about Kubota Image Tools, and in particular their Action Sets and Artistic Tools Volume 2. Now this is the first ever set I bought from Kubota Image Tools. I now own all of them, but this is probably my favourite because it's got some really good actions that save me loads of time when I'm processing weddings or commercial work. I will quickly explain how you use them. When you've bought an action set, you actually get this little thing here. It's their dashboard. You get that for free. Now it installs into Photoshop and it's brilliant. You can order all of your actions through this, but you can also order them into your favorites. You can actually go through them all. If I show you here, I can show you all of the actions that I've got. There's an absolute ton. They're image tools for making adjustments to brightness, colors, artistic adjustments, and you've got things like borders, funky borders. You've got all sorts of really cool stuff. And if you don't want to search through them all, you can actually just start typing the name of one of your favorites and it will bring it up. Okay, so it's a really good dashboard, and like I say, it's free whenever you buy any of their actions. The ones I'm going to show you today are actually in my favorites, so if we go into those, and the first one I'm going to show you is Digital Fill-in Flash. Now when you want to brighten an area of a photograph, obviously you can use some of the other tools like the highlights dodge tool and burn tool. You can use those to actually adjust the contrast of the image. But you have to kind of move between the midtones, highlights, shadows, change the exposure, all of that kind of stuff. It can be a little bit complicated and it's not always super accurate. Now the thing about Digital Fill-in Flash, it's very easy. So if I just click on that and then click apply, it will tell me to start painting where I need light. Now up here I can change the opacity and the flow to actually adjust obviously the strength of the lightning that I'm going to do. So I'm going to leave it on 30, which is the default, and then on these shadowy areas of my daughter, I'm going to left click and just start painting over that, and it will only do the 30%, so it won't do any more the longer you hold the button down. And then come off it and then go across the eyes, do a bit more in the eyes, and then a bit on the forehead up here in the shaded parts, then maybe a bit more here and under the chin. And already you can see it's made quite a big difference. If I actually revert this back, you can see the difference that's made already. It's really lightened the shot nicely. Okay, now once you've done that, you can see in the layers palette over here, let's close this, you can see in the layers palette, in that little square there, you can see exactly where you've made the adjustments. And if I double click on this, I can actually change the strength of it and just bring it down slightly if you want to really get some accurate kind of tuning. And if you click in here, it brings up the curves. So again, you can tweak it even more, the adjustments that you've made, just to make it so it's exactly how you want it. So if we leave it about there, that's absolutely fine. So it's a really good tool. The fill-in flash is brilliant. It's really good way of just tweaking an image for the light and dark areas. So similarly, we've got the smokeless burn. So if I click on that, click apply, start painting where you need to darken, and if I close the palette, if I wanted to just decrease the highlights on the forehead there, you can see it's a little bit too dark. So all we need to do is reduce the opacity right down. Let's go to 20% or so, 21. And then just reduce that ever so slightly, and maybe a bit there, and then bits on the shirt where it's maybe a bit over. Some of these are blown out, so it's a bit too much. Maybe a bit on the nose there. It just makes very fine adjustments to the highlights, and maybe a bit in the hair as well. Okay, so it's the opposite of the digital fill-in flash, but it's a really good way of really fine tweaking the shadows and highlights. So I really like those two tools. Now the next one I'm going to show you quickly is the black and white. Now I've got an old image here, and I always convert all my wedding photos to black and white for the client, just as a kind of a favour, if you like. So when you normally convert black and white, a lot of people will just go to image, adjustments, black and white, and then convert it that way, and it produces a black and white image, but it's very grayscale. It's just very typical black and white. Now if I go to a different copy of this and open up the palette again, you can see in my favorites I've got the new black and white in there. Now this creates a lovely black and white image, and I'll just click apply. You can actually paint it as well, so let's go back. If you wanted to, you can click the paint, and then you can actually paint which bits you want to convert to black and white, like that, if you wanted to just do some selective colouring. But in this one we're going to do apply, click the whole image black and white. Now if I flick between the two, you can see the differences. Okay, so we've got typical grayscale there, and then the new black and white there, and I think it creates a much richer black and white shot. The dark areas look really kind of chocolatey and a lot more rich tones in those dark areas. So I love that. And of course you can change the intensity of it as well using the layers palette here. But you can also create these as actions, so you can actually convert 100 to 300 photos using this, and it whips through all of your photos and gets them done in a jiffy. So that's another one of my favorites. I'm not going to go through them all, but in the Artistic Tools Volume 2, I think you get 51 different action sets. And if I quickly go to their website, you can see here that when you're on the page for the Artistic Tools Volume 2, and it's $77, which I think is great. When I bought it, it was a lot more than that. So the prices have come right down. And what you can actually do on this page is go through all of the actions and just see what they're like before and after. So here's an example, Modern Antique. If we click and drag this over, you can see what difference it makes, and it's beautiful. It's got a real kind of nice old world glow to it. Okay, and then if we flick through, let's have a look at a couple more here. You've got Sing the Blues, Select a Toner. You can actually you've got sharpening tools. We've got starburst vignettes. We've got different coloured kind of grades. Let's go back to the beginning, and you've got here some of the you can make borders very quickly and easy and set those to run through the actions, which are great. Then you've got Angel Glow, so you can add a kind of nice glow to an image, to a portrait, and again you can adjust that once you've got it open in the palette. Detail Finder, so it can actually looks like it's sharpening an image, but if you see here, it's pretty much only done the eyes. So if you watch the eyes, it's actually brought out those details without affecting the hair in the background. So you can use the brush tool again to actually bring out the details in any kind of photo. So for me, I think this is a really good set of actions, and if you are going to delve into the action market, then Kubota Image Tools are brilliant, and I would start off with the Volume 2 because you've got a really good set of actions in there, and they can make a massive difference to your whole portfolio. So if you like what you've seen there, I would hop over to their site using the link in the comments or in the information below or on the page, wherever you are, there should be a link. Go through to the site, grab yourself some of those, and before long you'll have the dashboard up and running and making massive changes to all of your images.